Hi everybody, so Battlefield 5. I've spent a long time trying to figure out the title and the subject of this video. Battlefield 5 is just DLC for Battlefield 1, accepting that Battlefield 5 is just half a game, trying not to hate Battlefield 5, coming to terms with Battlefield 5. But the one I settled on was forgiving the betrayal of Battlefield 5. Now this is Conquest gameplay on Aerodrome, and I think probably Battlefield 5 on one of its best maps, because you really feel like you're at the heart of a battle and you can make a difference on this particular map, and it shows off the fantastic graphics of Battlefield 5 and the great gunplay, and the immersion that you often get in this game. But we can't get away from the fact that this is half a game, you know. At this time in Battlefield 1's life cycle, we had 15 maps. You know, if you include Firestorm in Battlefield 5, we've got 9. We've got 9 maps, and the game is nowhere near complete. And the idea, the rumour that in fact Battlefield 5 shouldn't have been released until probably another year's time with the release of the new PlayStations, the new Xbox, and that DICE were forced to rush it through development in about 18 months because Sony or Xbox wanted Battlefield Bad Company 3 to be the release title for the new consoles, is starting to make more sense. And I really hope that is the case, and that Battlefield 5 wasn't in development for a lot longer and this is the final product, because that would be really bad, because it would mean that DICE can't make really good Battlefield games anymore. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I've tried to come to terms with the fact that Battlefield 5 is almost just like it's a half step between Battlefield 1 and what's coming next, which we're pretty sure now is Battlefield Bad Company 3. We're going to be going back to kind of the M16s and the AK-47s era of Battlefield, which will be really good. And perhaps even DICE did their best to create this game, because there's some bits of it that are amazing, like the gunplay is really good, and they made some terrible decisions about removing spotting, including all the ladies in a World War II game. Come on, I know people go, oh, that doesn't really matter. No, it does spoil immersion in a World War II game. And the lack of maps. Firestorm is all right, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not brilliant. It's not as good as Blackout, and it's not as good as, nowhere near as good as PUBG. But I've kind of come to terms with that now, and accepting that this is just a half step. It just really makes me angry, and that's why I use the word betrayal, because we paid full price for this game. I think I paid £70 for this game, and the maps haven't been coming out. They've insulted us with the new elite skins, which you have to pay real money for, and I can't even earn it in game, and I don't even get any credit for as a person who bought the premium version. Although yes, they would argue there is no premium version, the deluxe version of Battlefield 5. But I'm trying to push that to one side so I can enjoy the really good gunplay and the occasional really good immersion you get with Battlefield 5. And the way that I can really do that is by going back to Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4 to a certain extent. But my Battlefield, the one that I thought was absolutely amazing, I still think is absolutely unbelievable, is Battlefield 1. But back to Battlefield 5 for a little bit. This is a really good example of a close game of conquest. It's coming down to the wire. We've got 49 tickets left. They've got 22 tickets left. Throughout the period of the game, I played as a support player, as a sniper, and as assault. Get my head taken off here. And I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this. But where we are now, sort of when it came out in December. Was it December? No, November wasn't Battlefield 5. So we got December, January, February, March, April. 5 months later, the fact that I'm still having to play on the same multiplayer maps is just it just makes the game a little bit boring. The fact that none of the maps are really good, really sticks in the craw, and the bugs that are in it, and the lack of immersion. So what happens is, if you fire at Battlefield 1 now, and this I think is one of the best Battlefield 1 maps. I mean, there's so many good Battlefield 1 maps, but this is a really good one. This is Suez, where you end up with these cinematic battles over the sea flag that can go on for the entire game, the entire match. They go on for, and they're amazing. You've got like people on horseback, you've got tanks, you've got aircraft. I don't think there's any aircraft on this map actually, and you really feel like you're a part of a battle, and you can flank. You can see enemies, you can spot enemies, and Battlefield 1 is so good. And it's only really when you go back to Battlefield 1 and you notice things like the menus make sense and they're easy to use. The way that I mean, I use the lady who calls out the voices of you know, we've just lost A or we've just captured C. But when you listen to the guys that do it in Battlefield 5, what you'll notice is if you've played Battlefront 2 and Battlefront, they're the same voice actors from that game. They're nowhere near as good. The lady who speaks in Battlefield 5 is amazing. It's perfect. The way that the music seamlessly integrates with the game is so much better. If you play as a medic, the revive mechanic in Battlefield 1 is almost, I'm going to say, flawless. You know, when you're a medic, somebody's down, you run up to them, you equip your medic syringe, and you can revive them. Just like in Battlefield 4, you would equip your paddles, and you could charge them up if you wanted to, and then you would revive them. Whereas in Battlefield 5, we have this horrendous mechanic on consoles where you have to run up and you have to wait for the prompt to come up. And what happens a lot of the time is you'll end up swapping weapons with them instead. And it's just awful. And again, that's another thing that points to this idea that originally DICE were going to be releasing Battlefield Bad Company 3, you know, in November 2018, and EA came along and said, no, put that back, keep on developing that because we want to release that with the new consoles. What else have you got? And they said, well, we've been developing Battlefield 5, but that's not ready for a couple of years. And then EA going, no, that's the game we want. You're going to have to release that in 18 months' time. And they were like, oh gosh. Now, hopefully that's the case, because as I said in the Battlefield 5 part of this video, the alternative to that view, the alternative to the fact that Battlefield 5 was rushed incredibly through, and you could even argue that they've done an amazing job to produce Battlefield 5 in the state that it is if they only had 18 months worth of development. The alternative to that is that actually no, DICE have been working on this game for sort of 4 to 5 years, and Battlefield 5 is what we got after that development, because that would mean that DICE as a development house and as a developer are able to produce quality shooters. We'd then have to say, well, I don't think they can really do it anymore. They might produce beautiful games that have amazing graphics and amazing sound, but as far as gameplay goes, you know, there would be a big question mark over that, and a big question mark over Battlefield Bad Company 3. As it is, though, maybe what we can as well do is we can say, well, Battlefield Bad Company 3 is going to have all this extra development time. How amazing is that game going to be when it comes out? It's going to be superb. So, if you're a similar mind to me, maybe you've played Battlefield 5, maybe you've got to level 50 like I have, and you've got bored because the maps are the same, and Firestorm's great, but you know, it's not brilliant. Or maybe you're someone who's looked at the videos of Battle 5 and thought, no, this isn't for me. You've looked at the reviews and thought, no, that's not for me, and it's put you off Battlefield. Don't, you know, go back. Open up Battlefield 1, open up Battlefield 4, and there's loads of people still playing this. I've recorded this gameplay on a day off in the UK, about lunchtime, you know, on a work day for everybody else. And I've got no problem getting the game. Sure, you've still got the problem that the game takes forever to load on consoles and things like that. But it's so much fun. I probably had more fun in this one game of Conquest on Suez, playing as assault supports, you know, using my mortar, using my Lewis gun, than I have in many games of Battlefield 5. So there we go. I think I can forgive the betrayal, the EA betrayal of Battlefield 5, because I can go back to Battlefield 1, and I think that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going back to Battlefield 1, and this is going to be my Battlefield game. That along with some Battlefield 4 as well. and the occasional game of Battlefield 5 when I fancy a bit of World War II stuff, or maybe they'll introduce some updates that will definitely help. And I think I am at that point now, and here's hoping that Battlefield Bad Company 5 is going to be the Battlefield game that's had like 6 years worth of development. It's going to be absolutely amazing, and we'll relegate Battlefield 5 as, you know, as this half step that DICE had to put out because of pressure from their owner, from the publisher EA, when really they wanted to give it an awful lot of development. But here's to Battlefield 1. It's amazing as ever. I don't know. Put your questions and comments down below. What do you think? What game are you going? What Battlefield game are you going to be playing? Has it put you off the series as a whole? You know, do you feel betrayed? You know, like I do. Or maybe, you know, you've got to the point where you can forgive it, or maybe you love Battlefield 5 and you think it's great, but I don't know, trust me, you go back to Battlefield 1 and you'll see it's so much better. Anyway, that's enough from me. Put your questions and comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.